Well, is it supreme optimism or total denial? Australia's uranium miners reckon they're on the cusp of the next mining boom, despite Japan's Fukushima reactor still dominating headlines. Uranium prices are falling through the floor, but production is rising and there's a queue of explorers keen to get new projects approved. Elise Morgan has the story.
It's these pictures that have been the near-death experience of many uranium miners. The fallout from Fukushima sent the price to record lows and reignited global opposition to nuclear power. Despite this, though, Australian explorers believe they're seeing the first glow of a recovery, and it's partly down to these. For the past 20 years, ex-Soviet nuclear warheads have supplied 10% of uranium to America. And that's all coming to an abrupt end this year, with the last of the warheads being decommissioned.
You're going to see a dramatic drop-off in the availability of uranium from secondary supplies, leaving a potential supply gap of around 10 to 12% globally.
Industry numbers show there are 432 reactors around the world. Another 368 are planned or under construction, many in China. US demand will rise as the warhead program finishes. India could soon be a new market, while Japan plans to restart its reactors. And Australian uranium explorers want to supply the demand.
I expect the competition to be quite fierce.
Australia currently supplies a tenth of global demand, but has potential for much more. It's home to a third of the world's known uranium reserves and has only 4 mines. But more than 50 companies are exploring. The West Australian government lifted its ban on uranium mining in 2008 and has been practically begging Toro Energy to get its Wiluna deposit into production.
The West Australian government in particular, as well as the Australian government, really do see uranium exports as being a significant contributor to ongoing export earnings.
We're going up to about $36 billion worth of uranium sitting in the ground, and the government gets 5% royalty on that.
Last year, Queensland also lifted its ban on uranium mining, and New South Wales lifted its ban on exploration. Both states have seen huge interest. While there's still no right to mine in New South Wales, that hasn't held back explorers like Momota.
We certainly have identified a number of key zones adjacent to our Junction Dam tenement here in South Australia that we believe are quite prospective for uranium.
But talk is cheap, and so is uranium. The spot price has tanked since the Fukushima disaster to just $35 a pound, with no signs of life. And that's a massive problem for the industry and governments hungry for royalties.
The low spot price and the long-term price being where it is that there is not an incentive to bring new uranium supplies to market.
But she's confident this will change.
There is a significant growing demand in the second half of this decade, particularly with the construction of new reactors in China. So as demand starts to outstrip supply, the price will inevitably need to rise.
But the biggest hurdle right now is money. All explorers right across mining are having trouble raising funds, let alone for uranium.